So, how you doing? We're going to do a quick video here. We're going to do another carb rebuild. We're just going to go through it real fast, and I need this carburetor for a saw that I'm currently getting ready to do some testing on. We're actually going to, I guess you can say we're going to race it, but we're going to compare a ported saw against a non-ported saw. But I need this carburetor. So we're going to do a quick rebuild and get it ready to run. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get on with this. So this is a Tillotson HS125A with a governor, and you can see the governor right here. We're going to block the governor and rebuild the carb. It's a pretty simple process, so let's get on with this. Got to get these screws out. This would be what I consider the pump diaphragm side. It's stuck together. Just give it a little pry here and get it apart. So here's the gasket on this side. We got to get that off. Usually you can just get them to peel off. See, a little bit got left behind there. If you end up with a little bit left behind, a small piece of Scotch-Brite will Scotch-Brite will usually get rid of it pretty easily. You can see it coming off. There we go. So we don't need this. This is the working parts. These parts here need to be flexible, and they are flexible, so this side would probably work. But you see something here? See how this is kind of wet out here? You shouldn't see that. That means it was probably leaking out past, and probably would have given symptoms of an air leak. We need to get this off. Alright, now down inside here we got a screen. We're going to take and get that yanked out of there. This one isn't too bad, but we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. Now we're on the other side. This would be the metering lever side. See, this side's stuck too. There we go. So we got this little metal piece here. This is the diaphragm. And we gotta get this peeled off. Now, any of you that know chainsaws would notice that we're missing a gasket. There's supposed to be another gasket right here. It's missing. Now, what I'm getting ready to pull apart here right now is called the metering lever. This turns the flow of fuel on and off at every stroke of the piston. Got a tiny spring there, don't want to lose that. It does the actual turning on and off. It's like a little needle. See that? It's like a little needle, turns it on and off. Now, I want to pull out these are the high and low speed jets. I'm going to get them out. You notice the high speed jet comes out to a nice mellow point where this here would be the low speed jet. It has this little taper to it. This isn't true on all carburetors, but on a lot of them that you see, that is true. You see this little hole right there? That is for the this little hole right here. That is for the governor of the carb. Fuel will flow down through there, in here to the governor, and then out into carb body, which I can't see it. There it is. You can't see it very well, but right up in here on the side there's a little hole where the fuel would come out into the carb body. Now we need to get this governor out of here. This screw is sometimes pretty tight, so make sure you got a good screwdriver on it. And now you can see down inside there's a hole. Let me get a light. See down in there's a little hole. That's where your fuel flows through. It's hard to see, I know. Now there's a little copper gasket. We need to get that out, because we're going to plug this, and the plug needs to go down before this copper gasket. That is as far as I'm going to pull this apart. From here, I'm just going to give it a quick clean with carb cleaner. It's actually not that bad, so I'm just going to spray it off with some carb cleaner. Now you see this, how it's dark? We're going to take a piece of Scotch-Brite and hit that real quick. Clean that off. Alright, I'm going to spray this off again. I'm pretty happy with that. Gonna give this a moment to dry, and then work on putting all our new parts back on it. So here's all our new parts. We won't need them all. They give you some extras. I don't use this. This is for your ethanol style fuels. I don't use it because sometimes I have trouble getting it to work. So this here I don't usually use, but you're more than welcome to. Sometimes I can't get them to seal up just right. Not always, just sometimes. Alright, so the first thing we need to do here is reinstall our screen. We're just going to stick it on the hole. I'm just going to try to use my finger to get it started in there. And very carefully work again to get down in there. Now we're very carefully going to work at getting it down in there nice and even all the way to the bottom. Like so. Now we want to install our diaphragm. Now we want to get our gasket on top of that. Then we got our lid. And 4 screws. Flip it over. Now we're going to do the metering lever side. We're going to start by dropping our needle down in there. Put our spring in where it goes. See it there? Now we're going to work at getting this metering lever installed. Got to put the little pin through there. Get it on the metering lever, down in all the grooves. I'm missing the spring. It's not in its place. It needs to go down here and catch this little nipple. Got that. Now this screw. Just like that. See? Make sure my screw is snug. Now on this particular carburetor, This metering lever is supposed to be level with the floor of the car body, so it's a little high right now. There we go. That's better. Now, I need to install my gasket. That's not right. There we go. This gasket was missing whenever we pulled it apart. Remember me saying that we're missing a gasket? This is it. It was missing when we pulled it apart. Now our diaphragm goes in, and there's a little fork there. See this little fork? We're going to make sure we get this little nipple here hooked up into that fork whenever we put it together here. Now if that's on, all that's left is to put our plate and our screws. As you see, we haven't used these. These gaskets are for the reinstall. It'd go right there. Alright, simple as that. They give you 2 of them. Sometimes you need them, sometimes you don't. But they do give you 2 of them. So now, we're going to make our block for our governor. It goes right down inside this hole. We need to punch out a piece of gasket material, 1/4 inch in diameter. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stick a little rubber block. Here's my 1/4 inch punch. I believe leather punches are also have a 1/4 inch size. And I'm just going to stick this on there and whack it with a hammer. And we should have our block. And there it is. Now we just got to drop it down in the hole. Stick our little copper ring on top of it. And stick our governor back down on and tighten it up. And that's it. One rebuilt carburetor. The only thing I'm going to have an issue with is sometimes you need the screw here for your idle. I need that. So I got a bunch of carburetors laying here. I'm going to see if any of them have that screw. So here's one that has that screw. This might even be the same carburetor. Yep, I believe this is the exact same carburetor. And it has that screw that I need. This will be for our idle adjustment. I don't know how far it needs to go. So what I'm going to do is just kind of run it in there a piece. Oh, that looks to be about right. maybe a little less. Okay, we'll leave it there. Now I need to stick my low and high speed jets back in. And if you remember, the low speed is the one that has the notch. We're going to run it all the way in. Just until you feel tension and it's snug up. And then if you watch the screwdriver, we're going to turn it back out one full turn. So there's a half a turn and there's a full turn. We're going to do the same thing to the high speed. Going to turn it all the way in. Now she's snug. Now we're going to go half and one. And that's it. That's everything we need to do this carburetor. We're actually good. There we go. We're actually good and ready to mount it up now. That didn't take long, did it? So make sure you save these little pieces. You never know. There's more into a carb rebuild than that. That's just a quick general rebuild there. If I don't go any deeper than this unless the carburetor is having issues that this little job here doesn't clean up. But as long as this fixes my issues, this is what I go with. Choke lever's bent a little bit. Let's see if we can straighten her out. There we go. Might have been a little too far. Alrighty. But so this carburetor is going on at 130. That we're going to race with a it's basically a ported 130. We're sending it off to Tasman, and we're going to race it against the stock XL76. If you're not familiar with those two saws, a 130 and a 76 are almost identical. As far as I know, there's only a few parts that are different on them. So I think it's as close as a comparison as I can do. So that's why we're doing it. But you're going to see a stock 76, XL76, go up against my ported Super XL 130 that we're going to send to Tasman. I was hoping to have that done by now, but it's been raining just non-stop. Just keep getting caught in rain. So delay after delay. It's not a hard process. It's not a hard process to do these carburetors. You don't have to block the governor if you're going to run a stock saw. Just leave the governor as is. I'm required. I have to do it because of the ported saw that I'm putting it on. It won't function right with that governor. Or at least I don't think it would. So I'm blocking it off so that we can run the saw as though it was just any other standard carburetor. It's not a bad idea to have a governor. It will prevent you from going too lean. So it's not a bad idea to keep it. If you go too lean, you can cook your saw, you know. It's a safety measure put in there by the manufacturer that it helps to save your saws, you know. It helps save your engines. So it's not necessarily a bad idea to have it. But I'll go ahead and get this installed, and then we'll get ready to go ahead and get these saws tested and ran and put into the wood and have a little race off. Now, I've never ran the XL76. Like, I own it, but I've never started it. So hopefully this works out. You know what I mean? I've never started it. It was a running saw whenever I got it, but being that I've never started, you know, you never know what you're going to get into. It may not work out. It might. We'll see. But till the next one, later.